Matilda was very excited. In fact, this was undoubtedly the most excited she'd been in years. If she could pull this off, she was looking at an $18 million order, the biggest by far in the history of the dealership. The news of Chase's purchase of 100 G500 SUVs was sure to make waves throughout the whole city, and people would know her as the woman behind the deal. Plus, with the commission alone, she'd be earning close to $4 million. Her hands began to shake as she ran the numbers in her head. After half an hour of calling neighboring dealerships for their inventory, Matilda went out to address Chase and Yolanda in the waiting room. Mr. Rothman, I've contacted all the dealerships in the surrounding area, and I've been able to acquire your requested cars. They should be here shortly. In the meantime, would you like to begin the paperwork? All right, said Chase. Let's begin, shall we? The three of them walked back into Matilda's office. She sat down and asked, Mr. Rothman, are you interested in hearing about several payment plans that we can offer you today? Chase waved his hand. No need, he replied. I'll pay in cash, in full. The corner of Matilda's mouth twitched. You'd like to pay in cash? Sir, our dealership isn't prepared to handle the logistics of $18 million in bills. Would you feel comfortable paying by card? This way the transactions are happening bank to bank. It's safer for all parties. Of course, replied Chase. Lead the way. Matilda rose from her seat and led Chase and Yolanda to the cashier at the front desk. The cashier began to ring up the order and paused before announcing the total. Mr. Rothman, that'll be $19,153,000 after tax. When Chase seemed unfazed by the total, the cashier entered the digits into the card reader and passed the device across the desk for Chase to insert his card. After a few moments, the machine announced its ding of approval. And that was that. Chase had just successfully purchased 100 Mercedes-Benz SUVs for over $19 million. Salespeople and customers gathered around to watch the transaction take place. When the transaction was approved, everyone was shocked. The fact that Chase's bank had allowed him to make such a large purchase was almost impossible to believe. Moments later, Matilda brought over the keys to the 20 cars that were in stock and handed them to Chase. The rest will be here shortly, she said. Then she smiled. Would you like to take one of your new cars for a spin while we wait? Chase nodded and took the keys. Over a dozen people escorted him out of the parking lot. Even some of the businesses next door had gotten word of the day's events. Jenny from the Volkswagen dealership had heard it from a colleague who had heard it from a barista at the corner coffee shop. She promptly closed her office door and headed down to the block of the Mercedes-Benz dealership to see for herself. Who the hell was this incredibly wealthy buyer? By the time she arrived at the dealership, a large crowd had formed. Everyone was excitedly whispering to each other about this mysterious purchase. 100 SUVs? You must be joking. How much money is that? Over $18 million. No, who could possibly have that much money? Jenny had to stand on tiptoes to see what was happening, and even then, there were so many people hoping to catch a glimpse of the wealthy buyer that she couldn't even see more than a few rows in front of her. She sighed, frustrated she hadn't rushed over sooner. She frowned in disappointment and gave it one last effort before turning around and walking over to the coffee shop across the street. Maybe she could wait out the crowd. Or better yet, she put it out of her mind. Or, she thought to herself, maybe this mystery man will walk into the coffee shop. He must drink coffee after all. And I'll pretend to not know who he is, and he'll spill coffee on me, and we'll fall madly in love. She giggled and shook the image out of her head. A lingering side effect of last night's romantic comedy, perhaps. Her boyfriend, Lucas, wasn't a romantic. Jenny had just ordered her coffee when, to her surprise, In walked her cousin Mary with a few friends. "Jenny!" she shrieked. She ran over to give her cousin a hug. Mary's friends, as always, were gorgeous. Jenny thought they must have been models. Mary seemed to have a knack for collecting beautiful people around her. "What are you doing here?" asked Jenny. "What do you mean?" replied Mary, smiling. "I came down to see you at work, but they told me you stepped out. I figured you'd be here. I just stopped by to make sure you were coming to my birthday party." Jenny had hoped to avoid going to Mary's glitzy bash, but now it appeared she had no choice. "Fine, I'll be there," she said. Just then, the commotion across the street caught Mary's eyes. What's going on over there?" she asked. "Some buyer just bought 100 G's apparently," said Jenny. "Everyone's trying to get a look at him." "Ooh. It's too bad he didn't walk into your store," said Mary. "Maybe you could have landed the deal. And a better boyfriend," she giggled. Jenny glared. "I guess it's just my bad luck." Then suddenly Jenny had a horrible feeling in the pit of her stomach. What if? She thought. She tried to push it out of her mind, but the feeling kept nagging at her. She had a customer in her store just a little while ago. Even worse, he'd asked to purchase 100 cars. She'd practically throw him out of the dealership. Wait. Could it be? She thought. Could this buyer be the same man? No. Had she just lost the sale of a lifetime? Jenny was panicking. Had she really lost out on an order for 100 cars? She confessed the full story to Mary and her friends, who listened with rapt attention. I asked him whether he'd like to hear about the monthly payment plans, and rather to take me up on that offer, he just casually said he was looking to buy 100 cars. Not one, but 100. I mean, who does that? She continued, obviously upset. You wouldn't believe the number of people who come into my store just to look around and test drive a model they can't afford. I can usually pick them out by what they're wearing. They fawn over the fanciest car, take it out for a test drive, and then come back and complain about this, that, and the other. Ugh.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.